Namaste and a very warm welcome to the distinguished speaker and all the participants to the second day of Bharatiya Management Navaratri e-lecture series organized by SES in collaboration with ICFI Foundation for Higher Education Hyderabad and Ramaya Institute of Management Bengaluru. Navaratri wishes to all of you once again. We are truly honored to have some of the finest minds with us today, guiding us through profound topics that merge ancient wisdom with contemporary management practices. We begin today's session with an engaging talk on teaching spirituality and Bharatiya knowledge system to future leaders. As we all know, ancient wisdom holds timeless lessons for modern leadership. This session resonates with the core of our journey towards integrating spirituality and traditional knowledge into modern leadership frameworks. Our speaker for this session is Dr. Ajinkya Navare, Assistant Professor at SPJIMR, Mumbai. Dr. Navare brings a wealth of knowledge and insights, blending academia with ancient spiritual wisdom. He is a faculty member in the Science of Spirituality at SPJIMR Mumbai and serves as Deputy Chairman for the PGDM and BM programs, Bharatiya Management programs. He is also involved with the Center for Wisdom in Leadership, and his research is focused on Karma Yoga and its impact on spirituality and positive psychology at the workplace. Previously, Sir was an assistant professor at IIM Jammu, where he founded Anandam, the Center for Happiness, and taught maximizing happiness to over 400 participants. His research interests include workplace spirituality, Indian psychology, and positive organizational scholarship. A warm welcome to you, sir. It is very nice to have you with us. Now the session is over to you, sir.
Pleasure. Thank you so much. Am I audible clearly?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So just let me share my screen. Namaste, Sudhakar ji. It's a pleasure meeting you after long.
Namaste and welcome. Yeah,
Thank you so
wonderful
much.
to have you here.
Thank you so much. My pleasure. I just want to confirm that my presentation is visible or not.
It is so.
Okay.
Yeah, your slide is visible. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. Because I am using this platform for the first time, so I do not know. So just confirming. So thank you so much once again to CESS. It's always pleasure to get connected with CESS team and who are dedicated for Bharatiya management and Bharatiya management thought. And I feel very honored and privileged to be the part of this Navaratri series. And what an auspicious occasion to deliberate and to contemplate on Bharatiya Jnana Parampara. So very honored and thanks once again. And I'm going to share my bit of experience in teaching Bharatiya management or Bharatiya wisdom. You will see here IKS, Indian Knowledge System, but yeah, that is a word that NEP is using, so that's why we also use it. So we are teaching IKS and spirituality to our MBA students at SPJIMR Institute of Management and Research, and I'm going to share some of my experience in this. So at any point in time, if you want to ask anything or share anything, please feel free to do that. And let me tell you right in the beginning that I'm not an expert or I'm not somebody who's accomplished, but you can say that I'm student and I've started my journey in teaching, and I'm doing some experiments of how we can bring spirituality into mainstream management and how we can bring some experiential learning into it. So this is my attempt. Okay. So if you like something, the credit goes to my gurus, my teachers. If you don't like something, it is my fault. Okay. So with this caveat, let us begin. So I would like to share the genesis of spirituality subject, or we call it a course at SPJIMR Institute of Management. National New Education Policy came in 2020, and now everyone started thinking about, talking about Indian knowledge system. People started talking about Bharatiya Dhyan Parampara. So, groups like CESS is doing a lot of work right from the beginning. Uh, but slowly, this movement of Bharatiya management got momentum in last few years, and it is a very I would say very pleasing and heartwarming scenario. However, SPJIM, we call it SPJIMR, is having spirituality as the mainstream MBA course since very long. So you can see here, our founding dean, Dr. M.L. Shrikant, uh, M.L. Shrikant actually conceptualized this course on spirituality right in the year 1998, around 26 years back. Uh, Dr. Shrikant, late Dr. Shrikant, he envisaged that our future managers or future business leaders should understand or should have the holistic knowledge of life. And that's where he brought in the spirituality course into the MBA program. Earlier, it used to be a 5 days long Gita Shivir. It was conducted by Swami Vivekanandaji uh, uh, at, at his ashram in Ahmedabad. Uh, Swami Vivekanandaji is the disciple of the Swami Dayanand Saraswati ji, who is based out of Kochi. He was based out of Kochi, and that's where this Gita Shivir used to happen in Ahmedabad. And students used to stay there for 5 days, serve the people there, and they used to learn Bhagavad Gita and discourse on Gita. Gradually, this Gita Shivir got converted into the on-campus course on science of spirituality. It was designed by Professor Surya Tahora. Professor Surya Tahora is also direct disciple of the Swami Dayanand Saraswati ji. Professor Surya is my senior colleague here at SPJIMR, and he slowly brought the spirituality into a course format, or can say a subject format, where we started teaching them in classroom. SPJIMR has a core, I would say, one of the core courses. We call them NCL, that is non-classroom learning. Two courses are dedicated for non-classroom learning, and one of them is science of spirituality. And that's where we actually talk about spirituality to our English students. So it is this SOS course, we call it SOS, that is Science of Spirituality. This course is a part of a core curriculum across our full-time as well as part-time postgraduate program at SPJIMR. So it is, I would say, it is in the DNA of this institute, and I feel very privileged and very fortunate to be associated or to be working for this institute. I always feel that I am that chosen few who gets to teach spirituality to English students. Uh, One anecdote from SPJIMR, that how this spirituality is ingrained uh, in our DNA, that at the beginning of any new batch of any program, so be it a full-time MBA, part-time MBA, executive MBA, whatever it is, we begin with Shanti part from Kathopanishad. We all know Sahana Bhagavate, Sahana Bhunaktu, Sahaviryam Karavavahe. So we begin our new batch and we do a prayer right at the beginning of the program, and we try to explain them what is the meaning of it, and and that's how we begin. So that is a short genesis of how spirituality started at SPJM. But then this COVID and this break in between created a lot of challenges, and I'm sure that many of you must have also faced similar challenges, that now the student base that we are getting for undergrad and postgrad program is typically Gen Z, Generation Z. This Gen Z brings a different kind of values. They are very transactional, or we have generally observed that their attention span is very low. So that creates a lot of challenge. These Gen Z people, they want instant gratification, so they want everything quick. They do not have that much patience. Then how can we teach? How can we discuss spirituality with them? Is a big challenge. Then post-COVID scenario where people have become more lethargic, or they are becoming more transactional. Their attention span has gone down. They are not interested. So how to address that? We The teachers, I would say, or typically if they're teaching something like spirituality or mindfulness or Bharatiya Jnana Parampara, knowledge system, we face one problem, that how to convince our students with the problem of relevance, that how this concepts, constructs, or theories or practices, how they are relevant in today's time. That is another challenge that we face. Another challenge was for us was how to bring non-classroom elements. As I said in the beginning, that this course is a non-classroom learning course, which is ECL course. Then students were looking for some non-classroom or some extra, something different than their routine. Uh, how can we bring that? So that was one challenge that we were having before this course started, or before I took. Then how to bring experiential learning. Experiential learning has its own benefits, and how to bring those elements into the class. How we can strengthen experiential learning. That was one challenge. So that is how I would say, we redesigned this course on science of spirituality. So we look at four things. One, how we can bring instant gratification in the class. As I said, this is Gen Z and Generation Z people. Then how we can have more, I would say, more experiential aspects uh, coming to the class. How we can give them a little more interesting things in the class. That was one thing that we focused on. The second one is self-reflection. These students, they are not really comfortable with self-reflection. How we can push them? I would like to give you an example. I was talking to some students in the class, and I gave them some activity that when did you feel happy? Write down that moment. And somebody said that, oh, I never felt that. After hearing that, I was shocked that how one cannot feel the moments of happiness. It highlights that we, students, are not enough aware, that their awareness level is low, or they're not pushed enough to reflect on their experiences. So then we decided that how we can bring more self-reflection thing into the class. The next one was perspective broadening. So can we broaden their perspective, their existing understanding of the situation, and bring those aha moments that I learned something different. I learned something new. Can you bring those factors into their course? So that was the whole idea. So we built this course on these four broad, I would say, aspects. Yeah. So I will take a 1 minute pause, and if there are any questions or any thoughts, I will wait for your comment. So okay. So let us. Can we go ahead? Yeah. Okay. Okay, sorry, I got one question here. Okay, what kind of
Yeah,
prayers?
keep getting the questions. So we answer them at the end, Professor.
Sorry, Sudhakaji, I couldn't hear.
No, I said I'll take up the questions at the very end. So as it goes, people will post their questions. That is fine. Yeah.
Okay, no problem. Okay, so I invite participants to take this assessment, a quick assessment. Um, scan this QR code. Okay, it will redirect you to one Google form. It is a self-assessment, and I would like you to try that assessment. It shall not take more than 5 to 7 minutes. Once you have done, do let me know. You must have completed your assessment, and you will receive your score in couple of minutes. You will receive an email from us giving you score on two things. Okay, one score is on awareness, another score is on acceptance. Now, you will ask me what is the self-assessment all about? So actually, the self-assessment was assessing your mindfulness. I'm sure many of you are aware of mindfulness. Mindfulness is defined as the combination of two things: that are you aware, and that if you and do you have that state of awareness, holding with kindness. That do you have that kindness? What is kindness? It is acceptance. So being aware of what is happening within me, that what is happening around me, and being aware with the attitude or approach of being non-judgmental. Non-judgmental means how much are we accepting the things as they are and without resistance. So we want to teach, so for example, whenever I want to teach mindfulness to participants, I use this way that first we do assessment and then we send them a score, and they receive their scores on what is their level of awareness and their what is the level of awareness and what is the level of acceptance, and based on that we map them in a 2 by 2 matrix. Okay, and I am going to show you what is that 2 by 2 matrix. Uh, so I was just taking some time to understand if you have taken that assessment or not. Yeah, yeah. So you will receive that email in 2 minutes, and once you receive the mail, I want you to go to this link and tell us what is your code. This is a Mentimeter link. Uh, that is it is another website, and I will copy that link for you. I will copy that in the chat so that you can access. Yeah, I have copied that link in the chat, so you can go to that. You can go to that link and share your score. That what is your score? Can you see the screen? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Can you see the scores now? How they are coming up? Yeah. So this is the live graph which is changing slowly. So now you can see some people are here, some people are here. So you can see on one axis it is acceptance, on the another axis it is awareness. So it is telling us that where do you stand? Do you have high awareness and low acceptance, or you have high acceptance and low awareness? So this is how we do it in the class. Once they receive their scores, we ask them to plot yourself in this particular Mentimeter website where they can share their scores, and this graph keeps changing. It's very dynamic, so it is live. The moment you receive your score and you put it on this, you will find that this number is changing. So this is how we do. And uh, another purpose behind doing this is to let students know that whatever their score is, they are not all alone there. There are many people, and it is absolutely normal to get any score. This is another Gen Z phenomena that they are a little more anxious and they get a quick FOMO. So how to get rid of that? So to tell them that boss, you're not alone. There are so many other people also receiving the similar kind of score. So you can see here, these scores are moving. Many of you are in this particular quadrant where it is higher on the acceptance and higher on the awareness. But also there are some people who are high on awareness but low on acceptance, low on awareness, and low on acceptance. And so we are receiving, as we are receiving more and more responses, we will see that this graph is slowly changing, right? Uh, so this is a way that how we can engage students and how we can also, you know, make this abstract thing more visible and they can connect to it in a better way. Yeah. So so this is the thing, and I just wanted you to to get some I would say some experience some experience of it. Those who have not got your scores, you will receive them in some time, in a couple of minutes. So don't worry about it. So from this, we actually give them the assessment and we plot them in this particular way. So the awareness and acceptance can be both high or both low. So there can be different possibilities that your awareness and acceptance both are low, high awareness, low acceptance, high acceptance, low awareness, and both of the factors are high. And then we explain them this particular framework. So it is for all of you. You will receive your score. So if your score is uh, about 35 for any factor, then it means you are scoring high on that particular factor. If your score is below 35, it means you are low on that factor. So based on that, you can identify, you can plot yourself in this particular scheme, whether I fall into this quadrant or this quadrant or this quadrant or this quadrant. Typically, we have seen that Indian students, they are more into the self-critical quadrant because their awareness is high, but their acceptance level is low. But I'm glad to see today that this cohort, you are falling more into the mindfulness thing. So this is how we do the assessment. We help them to know where do they stand. I will quickly give you the description of each quadrant. So mechanical means these are the people who work in autopilot mode. So they will do X, then Y, then Z, and they will follow the herd, and their conscious choice or conscious thought or autonomy is missing. Passive people are those whose awareness is low, but they have a good level of acceptance. It means they may not be proactive, but if you tell them, they will appreciate and recognize and accept that feedback. But they are not proactive. They do not take initiative. So there is some larger sense of passivity. The third quadrant, if awareness is high but acceptance is low, it means I'm aware of my thoughts, I'm aware of my emotions, I'm aware of my feelings, but I'm not accepting them. What is the result? The result is I will be more self-critical. I will keep criticizing myself. I will be self-judgmental. I will try to push away the negative thoughts. I will try to push away the negative feelings or my inadequacies or fear. And I'm not embracing and not accepting or I'm not comfortable with the way I'm. As a result, I'm self-critical. And if both the quadrants are high, then I am mindful, right? The acceptance is high, awareness is high, then I'm mindful. Then the question comes that, okay, how can we move from this quadrant to mindful quadrant, the passive to mindful, self-critical to mindful? And that's where we do a lot of practices, and these practices come into the picture. We do some practices in the class, for example, breathing meditation, watching the breath, some visualization meditation. We do mindful eating, we do some mindful walking, my senior colleague, Professor Surya, he has also learned, he's expert of Tai Chi. Even he does that. So we do different practices and we bring that experiential part into the learning. Yeah. Then I also share that what are the research findings that we have done within the students. So me myself was involved with my guide, Professor Rakesh Pandey from IIT Bombay, and we did some interventions, some experiments on how mindfulness or yoga-based practices help students, and these were the results. And this is like first-hand data that we have got. So it improves their resilience and optimism. Resilience means their ability to bounce back, their ability to withstand the failure. Then it improves the sense of vitality. It improves their moral reasoning. It improves multitasking without fatigue. So basically, it improves your cognitive flexibility, that how well you can do different tasks, and in total it improves your academic performance. So we do this kind of we also share these research findings with students, which make them more aware that okay, this is not something, we are not talking something in air, but we do have I would say a hard evidence or facts with us that this is how uh, mindfulness practice or contemplation practice can help us. So that is one experiment, or I would say one experiential learning that we do in the class. Let us move to the other activity. So here we talk about the success stories. So what is that? So that is another activity that we do in the class. The success story is we ask our participants to think of a recent success story in their life, uh, and which may include their personal or professional achievement. And we ask them to reflect on what steps did they take, what decisions did they make, what are the factors which contributed their success, what was the outcome, what was the feelings and thought at that moment. And you will see that I have put these factors into capital, that I tell them that talking or thinking about the factors is super important. You have to think about some direct as well as some indirect factors. For example, getting a good score in your entrance exam, if that is your success, you should not forget the computer center, you should not forget the computer, you should not forget the cab driver, maybe he came on time and he dropped you on your center on time. So all these things will be the part of your uh, your factor which played a role in success. Okay, and then we asked them to, then we discussed these things in the class. I asked them to narrate their stories, and I write down all the factors that they tell me. So I write all the factors on the board, and then I ask them that out of these factors, which are the factors which are in your control and what factors are not in your control. And the factors which are not in your control, I just mark them with red. And then you will see that the whole board is filled up with some red marks and some green marks in the class. So I will take a pause here and I want to ask you that can you guess that which um, I would say which topic from Indian wisdom, from Bharatiya Jnana Parampara, I want to introduce in the class with the help of this activity. Any thoughts? You can type in the chat if you have some idea that where are we heading. So I asked them to reflect on their success story. I asked them to reflect on the factors, and you identify the factors which are in your control and the factors which are not in your control, and then we did some discussion. So we have students, we have some discussion, and we have a board which is the uh, which includes or which has the combination of some red marks, which are the factors not in control, and some green marks, the factors which are in control. So any guesses that which topic we would be discussing after that? Any topic from um, Bharatiya Jnana Param? Any guesses? Anybody would like to, just if you can guess, put it in the chat. I will take a pause for a few seconds. Okay, we haven't received anything. So, let me tell you what are we referring to. So this activity, we actually talk about the wisdom on action and result. So we teach them some nuggets from Bhagavad Gita. So you all know this verse, Karmanyavadhikaraste ma phaleti kadachana. So before telling them this verse, I actually push them to reflect on to understand that there are so many factors which play a role in the process of result which are not in our control. And that is what Krishna is telling Arjun in Bhagavad Gita, that karmani eva adhikarahate ma phaleshu kadachana. So that is how we bring students to this verse of karmanyavadhikarahate ma phaleshu kadachana. Otherwise, what happens? Students are very quick to discard this and say that how is it possible to work without an expectation. Then also we do generally a fueled discussion, a very reanimated discussion, that is it possible to act without an expectation, and that's where I I break their myth, or I burst those balloons of misinterpretation that we have to work without an expectation. No, we have to work with an expectation. However, we should not misinterpret that all the results of my actions are in my input. Let us move to the next activity, or I would say the next task that we do in the class. So that is crafting your life simulation. So we run one simulation with students. The simulation is by Harvard Business School, and say that you must be knowing that Harvard has different simulations, and we do it with students. Uh, this crafting your life simulation is very interesting. It asks you different questions to understand your profile, to understand your phase of life, and then your life is simulated for next 15 years. So you actually get to play how your life would look like in next 15 years, and it asks you to take certain decisions, and these decisions will be of different types. There could be some decisions which are very serious, very big. There will be two decisions which are very minor, very small, and it will keep distracting you from decision making. And so it basically pushes you to make a choice. And once students complete their simulation, then you ask these questions to them. What was your pattern of decision making? How did you manage the pressure of decision making involved? They have to choose uh, between these four things: work, relationship, self-care, and social impact. So they have to choose, they have to assign some weights out of 100, that how much importance they, according to them, how much importance they have about the work, how much importance they give to social impact, the importance to relationship, and the importance to self-care. Typically, we have seen that people give most importance to the work and social impact, and when they play the simulation, the reality is different. So for example, here you can see that this is how the decisions that they have taken. For example, if they have to choose between the work and the personal relationship, they choose relationship over. When they have to choose work and social impact, they choose social impact over work. So this is how the trade-off that they make. And also when we talk about how they took decisions in terms of the big decisions, the very small decisions, and then there is a lot of discussion happens. So basically here, what we do is we make them realize that in life sometimes we think something, but we do something else. I believe that work is the most important thing for me, but when I have to choose work and social impact, or when I have to choose work and um, you know, and my relationship, I give importance to other things than work. So the simulation actually opens this Pandora box, and and it gives very stunning results, and students enjoy this a lot. And that is how we connect this to what is your source of meaning, what is your purpose of life, what is your flow state, what is your ikigai, and then using all these concepts with the help of this particular simulation. So the simulation again it gives that aha moment, instant gratification, and it pushes people to reflect on what they felt to be important and what how did they actually behave. Then let us move to the next activity which I do in the class, that is India education ecosystem. So what is this? So I divide students into different groups, and each group represents one stakeholder from this India education ecosystem. For example, one group will represent students, one group will represent recruiters, one group will be educators, one group will represent government, industry, society, alumni, one group will represent institution. So like this, the different groups will represent, they represent different stakeholders in the ecosystem. In the next, I asked them to brainstorm and discuss that how your assigned stakeholders' decisions have impacted other stakeholders in the education system, in the education ecosystem. And they have to look at what are the direct as well as indirect um, interaction of or indirect impact of their stakeholders. I will give you an example. A group representing uh, government. So recently, 2 years back, the government said that unity in Mumbai will be given the status of IIM Mumbai. With one decision, created impact on institutions, it created impact on students, it created impact on alumni, it impacted industry, it impacted recruiters. So then they have to identify what are the different stakeholders which are impacted by that particular decision. And at the end of it, this is what happened. What is this? They have actually created a net. Now you can see here that this guy is holding a placard of industry, somebody, these are recruiters, they are society and so on. So we carry some colorful threads with us, and when they discuss their impact, when they present their impact, we connect these threads in the class. And what at the end they observe is this complex web of interconnected relations. Then, after this web is created, I need not talk about interconnectedness or interdependence in the class. The students themselves can visually understand that what is the importance of interconnectedness and how we are dependent on everything. When we talk about this existence of this kind of interconnected web at different levels of existence, at different state of life. Yeah. So that is about interconnectedness and independence. See, it is very easy to talk about interdependence and interconnectedness in class with the help of PPT, but that doesn't go to their heart. To make to register these concepts, we can use these kind of activities. Then there are some these which happen. One last activity that I would like to share, and then I will take it. I will conclude. We talk about wisdom of emotions in the class. So we typically talk about the RAIN framework, which is recognize, accept, investigate, and nurture. So how do you manage your difficult emotions? So we say first to recognize what kind of emotion is it. Then you accept that emotion. You investigate the need behind emotion, and then you nurture. So I had to teach this, the me and my teaching associate Ashita and other people, we sit together with we deliberate on how we can bring some experiential uh, uh, element in the class, and this is what we do. So this time we use a clay sculpting as one activity to discuss this wisdom of image. What is it? Clay sculpting. So we did one focused meditation before this activity, and then we asked students to revisit their recent experience that they experiencing a difficult emotion, and he asked them to represent their difficult emotion with the help of clay. And they can use this clay to create some shapes or textures or a form. Basically, try to externalize your emotion with the help of this clay. And once they do that, then you get some discussion, then some debrief. And at the end of it, he asked them that now you create another shape or another pattern or something which will represent that nurture aspect. That is, what positive steps you will take to address and manage these emotions, and something to make something which will symbolize the comfort, strength, support which you will get uh, to tackle these difficult emotions. And let me share some very interesting pictures of this activity. Here you can see that students are engrossed in this activity, and here you can see that somebody had made one lonely person sitting on the red carpet, showing that red carpet represents anger and anxiety and rejection. And that was the first part. And then the same student added this blanket that, and she said that this blanket is of care and compassion. That now I see the last part of emotion. Here you can see one student, he made this a person, a boy sitting alone in blue color. That's somebody who is feeling lonely, who has fear of missing out, and so on. And in the second activity, is how will you deal with this? He made these two more figures showing that this is my family. And here you can see the small figure of Ganesha. So this is how we I conducted we did this activity, and it was very well received. So yeah, so thank you so much. This is what I wanted to share with you. This is my contact details. Feel free to reach out to me. And it's 6:22. The floor is open for Q&A. And just one last point I want to highlight, that please make a good use of ChatGPT. It helps immensely to develop these activities. So thank you so much once again. Thanks to CESs for having me here, and floor is open for questions. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. That was a very wonderful session. Probably we can have such kind of sessions offline where we can conduct lots of activities as well, which would be more interesting.
Yeah,
and probably a day whole session on how to, actually being aware of ourselves becomes more important. Actually, that's the first thing, first step to leadership. Actually, so sir, there are two questions here, so I just want to take it up. What kind of prayers can be more inclusive across generations and religions?
I feel that all the Shanti parts of Upanishads, so like Sahana Votu, Sahana Gunoktu, or Badram Karnevi, Sunyam Devaha, and all that. All these prayers, so all the prayers of Upanishads, they are very all inclusive, or Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina, Sarve Bhadrani Pashintu, all these prayers. So we are never exclusive. We are always inclusive, and we talk about Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina. Let everyone be happy. Or like prayer like Sahana Bhavatu, where it embraces, it celebrates the relation of a guru and a disciple, a shishya, and their journey together. Or Tamaso Majo Tarigamaya. That also inspires us to gain, to seek wisdom and to move towards the light of knowledge. So all these prayers will be very helpful. So any prayer from Upanishad, Shanti Path will be all in place.
Yeah. There is another question. There are two shlokas, from one is from Bhagavad Gita and the other is from Sukashtakam. Traigunya Vishaya Veda Nistraigunyo Bhavarjuna. In Bhagavad Gita, instructing Arjuna to be very much beyond the three gunas, Satvik, Rajas and Tamas. And again in Sukashtakam, Nistraigunyo Ko Vidhi Ko Nisheda. For a person gone beyond the three gunas. Instructions from the scriptures. So how do these instructions fit into the right management practices or leadership practices, taking the whole organization in the path if growth and prosperity? Can you throw some light on these things?
Yeah, okay. It's a very complex question. So So what the question represents, or is in Triguna, it comes from a Sankhya philosophy, and Bhagavad Gita is a good, it is, I would say, a synthesis. It's a beautiful synthesis of Sankhya Darshan and Vedanta Darshan. And yes, so Arjun is asked to go beyond Triguna. So each guna has its own sense, but it also comes with a limitation. And so Arjun is asked to go Trigunatit, that is, let not any of this quality or good affect you, and you perform or you attain that state which is beyond these gunas. So at Adhyatmic level, it is excellent, but if you want to put it in the management context or in the leadership context, essentially we are talking about adhibautic context. And in this adhibautic context, I feel the Sattvic leadership would be the key or would be the answer to this. And I would recommend strongly to read the work of Professor Kumar Alok. Some of his papers are published in top international journals. I'm putting his name in the chat. Professor Kumar Alok from XLRI. So you can read his work where he talks about sattvic leadership. So instead of going Triguna, which is a state of is a state of mukti, we want somebody not on the nivritti mark but on the pravritti mark, and somebody has to remain on the pravritti mark. I think sattvic leadership is the answer. So maybe
There is another question, sir. What are the major consideration that improve self-awareness? How to attain workplace spirituality?
Yeah. Uh, how to attain workplace spirituality? This question has an assumption that workplace spirituality is something to be achieved, and there is. And right now, I do not have workplace spirituality, and if I do something, I will achieve that. No, it is not like that. It is not a binary construct where you get a certificate or you get a qualification of having workplace spirituality. No, it is in degrees. I would say it is a continuum. We all have workplace spirituality. We all have that spiritual sense in us. But few quick things which will make our work more spiritual. One is to understand what is the meaning, to understand what is the purpose, why am I doing this. So answering the question or answer to the question why. If we know why are we doing this, why are we involved, then automatically your work will become more meaningful. So that will help. And then once we start looking at the bigger picture, that how my work is contributing not just to my requirements, my needs, but also how it is serving the larger purpose, we slowly start embracing this connectedness and dependence, and that is the step towards oneness. And that's how the work will become more and more and more. Any other question? Hello, am I audible?
Yeah, sorry, sir. I was
Yeah.
muted and I was going on talking.
Okay.
Sir,
Okay.
a participant has asked, can you post the authors and textbook names? I think that can be, if possible, that can be done. And sir, there are two more questions. I think then we can close the session, since Venkataramanaya sir has also joined us a long ago and is waiting to take up the session. So does only Sattvic leadership works in present scenario? That is the question.
Okay, so there are different ways of conceptualizing leadership. Because we talked about Triguna and it is coming from Sankhya, I gave example of Sattvic leadership. There is work of Professor Dharam Bhauk, and you can refer to his work and in the book Managing by Bhagavad Gita. And in that book, he talks about Loka Sangraha as the path towards leadership. I will not talk much about Loka Sangraha. You can just Google or you can. I'm sure many of you must be aware. It appears in third chapter of Bhagavad Gita, chapter of Karma Yoga, where Krishna talks about Loka Sangraha. So Professor Bhauk defines Loka Sangraha as another way of leadership. Now we are also talking about servant leadership, which is closely connected with bhakti. So there can be different ways of conceptualizing leadership, which is based on spirituality. Okay? We need not compartmentalize it to one particular type.
Yeah. One last question, sir. What is
Yeah.
the effect of tendencies on mindfulness? Does clarity of inner being increase mindfulness?
I would say it is vice versa. Yeah, in fact, more mindfulness will bring more clarity about inner being, because mindfulness is about awareness. So if you build that awareness, then only we will be more aware of what happens within you. So it is not the clarity of inner being which will increase mindfulness. Perhaps the mindfulness will improve or will build or give me more clarity about your mind.
Yes. Yeah, that's the end of the questions that we had. Thank you so much, sir. That was a very wonderful session. Thank you so much for joining us and giving us insights on so many things. Thank you, sir. And thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
Yes, sir.